Hello, it's Jimmy here. The Wiley's have here an Audi to look at. So this model is an A6, but this video is going to apply to A4s, A5s, Q5, all of that. Okay, so we're inside the car. We're going to start it up. So we don't currently have an engine light on, but the customer, I think, has been switching her off. So this is the new Euro 6 model with the EGR and the EGR cooler down here, low pressure EGR and EGR cooler underneath the turbo, underneath the catalyst, and it's attached down there basically where the DPF is. This one is a CNH engine, but there is different engine codes. Okay, so for this tool, for this car, sorry, we're going to use a new tool that I've got from launch, and this is the X431 Euro. This is a new model tool that's just been released. That's the model there, X431 Euro. I'm going to go to Intelligent Diagnose. So while that's loading, we'll have a quick chat about what's going on with this car, what the issue is, and it's a common issue against all of these Audis and VWs as well. It's the P200200 fault code. Now I've done at least 500 of these cars, which was, when I first started doing them, it was a bit of an experiment. Can we get it to clean? And can you clean it safely is the question, because it's low pressure EGRs can be risky business. You know, it recirculates back to the cylinder, so if you overdo it with your cleaning fluids, you can suck it back up to the engine basically. Now these, when I first started doing these, I had a lot of good success. I'd done 5 or 6 and all of them had 100% success rate. So I was really confident that, you know, I've found a hack around this issue. Now the problem is after I've done, say, sort of 50 of these, I would say at least half of them would come back within sort of a week, maybe 3 days, default back. Now I've done a lot of experimenting with these cars because I've been trying to find a resolution around it. Now this particular car here has had $4.5 grand spent on it with a new EGR, all of the new system, new EGR cooler. I'm not sure what else, maybe the DPF and catalyst, but usually all of the story I hear from customers is they've brought it back to Audi and it's between £4,000 to £5,000 they've spent getting it fixed. Now the problem is this has had that replaced twice and within 2,000 miles. Some customers are saying 4,000, 5,000 miles. Obviously varies a lot on how the condition of the engine is, how old the car is, how the car's been driven. Is it driven around town? This is driven around town, it's a taxi. So now, you know, $4.5 grand on a car that is probably not, these days, not worth much more than that when you've got 140,000 miles on it, on a sort of 15 regged 2015 car. You know, you can pick these up for £6,000 to £8,000 now, and spending that sort of money on them makes the car sort of disposable, in my opinion. The only thing that I've found to be able to resolve the issue with this, you know, spending $4.5 grand on a car is all well and good if it's going to last the lifetime of the car while you've got it again. But when it's sort of persistent every few months, or you're having your DPF cleaned and it lasts a week and it's back again, when, you know, it gets a bit, what do you do? I've always been trying to find a resolution to it because I want to keep my customers happy, and I don't want anyone coming back to me once I've cleaned it and once I've repaired it. You know, to me, I want the customers to be, I'm the last point. They've come to me, I've fixed it, and they haven't had the problem anymore. Unfortunately, the only way around it I've found with these cars is, now I don't really recommend remapping and stuff, but there are some cases where there's no other solution. What are you supposed to do? I don't really recommend ever deleting your DPF, but most cars don't ever need that doing. But what these cars have is a low pressure EGR, and I have found, along with another remapper, I've found a way to basically bypass the EGR cooler, so it doesn't go through your exhaust gases don't go through the EGR cooler. The EGR cooler, now some people might say, you know, I don't ever recommend it, so why am I mentioning this? I'm not recommending it by any means, but I'm just telling people what the options are. If you bypass the EGR cooler, it has to be done a very specific way, because I've mentioned it to lots of people and they've tried to do it and it doesn't work. I know a guy that works, he's a friend of mine, and we've done some experimenting, because I had one of these cars myself, and we've done some experimenting with it, and we found a way to bypass the EGR cooler and leave your DPF and your AdBlue system all working. So all of your emission system still works, but it just doesn't divert through the EGR cooler, and there is a way that you can do it, software and physically, with some, you know, mechanically and software, or whatever you call it. And it's the only way that you're going to get these cars to work. Other than that, if you don't want to go down that route, I'd suggest you just get rid of the car, either chop it back into Audi or whatever, claim on your insurance and say that it's beyond repair, or whatever the resolution may be. But if you're looking at getting it fixed, I would say if you spend $4,500 or $4,000 replacing, or $2,500, if you go to some side street garages, I've heard people say that they pay $2,500 to have it replaced for an aftermarket part, and they found some cheap mechanic to fit it. It is sort of a very, very long job, 8 hours or so. I've heard some people saying it's taken 12 hours, but it's a lot of chatting on this video. But what we're gonna do on this one, I think, is we're gonna try and clean out the DPF, and we'll see. I'll show you how I know that the EGR cooler is gonna need to be replaced. Okay, so we're on this tool again. We're gonna hit high-speed scan. Okay, so on this particular car at the moment, there's no DTC, but what happens is, obviously you clear the fault and maybe 100 miles or so it will come back. We're going to go into live data. Okay, so I'm looking at some live data here. You can see we have sort of 9 or 10 millibars of pressure, which is a little bit above where it should be. Sort of around 4 or 5 would be nice. 9 grams of soot, which is not too high. And then here we have measured soot, which is in negative readings. That's how you know that there is an issue. This is what the P200200 code is flagging up for. So it needs the, what you can do is you could clean out the DPF, and then immediately, or sort of within 100 or 200 miles, have the EGR cooler blanked off, basically, and that will stop this from happening. So while we're here talking about it, we're going to chat some more. I've made loads of videos showing you cleaning procedures on these cars, so this one is just going to be talking about these types of cars. So these cars and the Land Rover Evoque and the Discovery Sport, they're the type of car that I've seen customers, I've had more than 20 customers say to me, look, I've had this car 2 years, it's had the DPF replaced 4 times or 6 times. Or I've had one customer had a Range Rover Evoque, it was a 1.5 years old, and it had the DPF replaced 5 times in that time. It's only a 1.5 years old, he's had it from new, but in that time it's had 5 DPF and EGR and EGR cooler replacements under warranty from the dealer. But this time they gave up and said, we're not replacing it under warranty anymore, we think it's your driving style, blah de blah. And the argument he had was, it's done 400 miles since I've left the dealership and it needs a new DPF again, it's cracked. So the dealership were blaming his driving. I don't believe that. I think there was maybe something wrong with the engine or something wrong with the software. But when you've got a car like that and it's not under warranty, say it's 5 years old or 7 years old, it may be worth sort of somewhere between £5,000 to £10,000, and you're getting a repetitive bill of sort of around the £5,000 region to have this repaired. But it needs that done multiple times a year. You know what? There's no sensible solution to that. Is it eco-friendly to either the world or your pocket to consistently have all of these parts made up and replaced on your car? To me, it's not. So there's one of these cases where you either get rid of the car, like I said, or you change the software so the vehicle is usable. Even though you're not allowed to, it's not legal. So if you are doing it, if you're in the UK basically anyway, There probably is countries across Europe that you are allowed to do this, I'm not sure, remapping, but deleting the EGR cooler is arguably going to make very little difference to your emissions. Now, like I said, I don't really condone deleting DPFs. I've never have, and I've never done that so far, but EGR coolers and some AdBlue systems, you sort of, you know, when they play up so much it makes the car unusable, where do you go? That's where we are with this. This car has had temperature sensors, NOx sensors, oxygen sensors. These DPF pressure sensors have been replaced, all on multiple different repairs and attempts to try and get this fixed. So what we're doing is we're putting some fluid down the AdBlue injector, and we're putting some pressurized fluid down the DPF pressure sensor there. Okay, so that's the cleaning fluid put in. So you see, if we hold the revs on this car now, you'll see this minus figure will come back to 0 where it should be, or in sort of +2 or +5 region. But this, in my experience, this only lasts, you know, a short time. So we're now holding the revs up at 2500 RPM, which is the max. It allows you to do that. We're just going to wait and see how far, where these numbers end up here. But obviously, this is what is actually happening here. This is why you get the fault, or you could get a P2458 DPF regeneration duration code as well. Very similar, because it will try to regen, and the regen is either happening too quick or it's taking too long to do it, or it's trying too many times to do the regen, and it's not getting these numbers where it wants to be, basically. So we're just going to hold the revs here for a couple of minutes. Okay, so we can now see we have 22 millibars of pressure. We're into 0.76 now, so we're not in negative readings anymore. So cleaning these out, like I said, Euro 6, it can be risky business. You need to know exactly where you're putting the fluid and how much you're putting in. We can sort of, it's not always successful cleaning out the EGR on these. What we do is like a DPF clean, and some of it will go to the EGR cooler and unblock it, depending on how bad it is. If it's blocked with ash, you're not going to clean it out. But even if you clean it out, or even if you fit a new one, like I said, pretty quickly, when you've got an engine that's full of soot, it comes down. You've got a little unit that's made of fins, basically, and it just gets blocked up very, very quickly. Now, pretty shortly, what will happen is this grams of soot, it will stop rising up and it will start coming back down. There we go. It's happening just as I said it. So the final result is we have 2 millibars of pressure on the DPF. I'll try and get that where the screen hasn't got glare. It's got a lot of glare on it. There, that's a bit better. But the DPF is clean. Obviously, you do your check on the tip of the exhaust, make sure it's not got soot on it. But now this car is fixed, but it's, again, like I said, it is temporary. I'm going to give the customer the choice, let him know what he needs to do from here. If he wants to go and have the software changed, he can do that. It's not something I do, I'll be honest, but I've never really felt the need to it. But there are a couple of cars, like I said, that like this, they're just not really, they don't work, they're not fit for purpose is the question, is the word. So you either get rid of the car or have the software changed. It's the only way around it. Okay, so that is all for that car. See you on the next video.